November 16, the day of President Emomali Rahmon, is celebrated in Tajikistan. This is almost a nominal holiday when it was founded and celebrated annually for 26 years. Despite the fact that human rights activists around the world and the heads of democratic states recognize the Rahman as a dictator, destroying the political opponents and suppressing any dissent under the slogans of the fight against radical Islamism, and his regime is a corrupt dictatorship. Immediately after the collapse of the Soviet Union, a civil war broke out in Tajikistan. The republic actually has been itself in a situation of anarchy. The popularly elected President Rahmon was suspended. The dushanbe was under the control of opposition Islamic forces. The republic collapsed in the chaos. The clan class discord began to be felt more sharply. Conflicts within political tops began to occur more often. The recent Tajik communist elite and former officers of MIA and KGB officers created an organized criminal group, divided the country into subordinate territories, and fought among themselves for power. There was a mixture of civilians. The impoverished Tajiks were divided into two camps and demanded action from the authorities. Supporters of the current government held rallies at Azadi Square, and supporters of the opposition held rallies at Shahidon Square. Under pressure from the grassroots, the political elite of Tajikistan gathered at the 16th session of the Supreme Council that to decide how to stop the military action and determine the future of the country. The decision taken in that day did not stop the civil war, which lasted another 4.5 years, but meant the life of the country for a long quarter of the century. That session of modern Tajikistan was historic and momentous. It was on that day that the decision was made, which many of those present definitely regretted in the future. The audience elected chairman of the Supreme Council, Emomali Rahmon, who 2 years later became the permanent president of Tajikistan. In November of 1992, in Dushanbe, the tanks entered the new government, and immediately after began mass execution, firing on the sweeps. People were killed for the dialect and place of birth. People were shot in spite of gender and age. The civil war, which was in fact the most common massacre, lasted for a long 4.5 years, with direct or valid intervention of Russia, Iran, Uzbekistan, and other foreign states. Only in June 1997, the Dushanbe and the United Tajik opposition, with the assistance of the UN, signed a peace agreement. In fact, the new power in Dushanbe was built on the blood of civilians, and this power is still there. And none of those who in 1992 was present at the session of the Supreme Council could not then assume that the power given to the hand of the young director of the farm would remain in his hands for a long 25 years. After the civil war, a few years will be continued armed clashes, that all economic resources of Tajikistan will be under the control of the one clan. The parochialism and regionalism will not only not be eliminated, but will form the basis of personal policy, that corruption will grow and become a systemic phenomenon, covering the entire power vertical, that hundreds of thousands of Tajiks will be forced to seek salvation from poverty, going to work outside their country. This is not a complete list of the merits of the session that predetermined the course of Tajik history for several decades to come. The historic session, with the entire republic, is now celebrating as a national holiday. With President Rahmon lying hand, was a tragedy of the deceived and shut hopes for peace. The price of it, according to the various estimates, from 60 to 150,000 killed, dozens of mass graves across the country, hundreds of thousands of people who lost their homes, became refugees or internally displaced persons. Tajikistan continues to hold the title of one of the poorest countries in the world. For 26 years, under the clear leadership of Emomali Rahmon, the country has been ruled by dictatorship, tyranny, obscurantism, which denied the human rights and dignity, laws and the constitution, corruption and local clan discrimination. It will continue until the country changes the power. But at the centuries-old practice, the dictator's power don't give voluntarily.